The MBTI types as supervillains. Villainy has many faces and forms. Some are maniacal like the Joker, or calculating like Lex Luthor. Here is the type of diabolical supervillain each Myers Briggs type is likely to be. The ENFP. The ENFP villain is usually someone who feels like they've been wronged in life, and has a lot of anger and resentment bottled up inside. They feel misunderstood and undervalued, often leading them to lash out at those around them. They are more of an anti-hero, like the Punisher, and are out to fulfill a personal mission that only they feel is justified. They are fanatical and dangerous, because they are prepared to die for their goal. They are motivated by vengeance, or selfish ambition fueled by a rogue philosophy of self-righteous purpose. INTJ. The INTJ villain is the one who is purely motivated by grand scientific ambitions and doesn't really give a rat's ass about who gets harmed in the process. The INTJ villain is someone who is very insightful and strategic, patiently plotting against their enemies and waiting for the perfect timing to strike. Perfect example is Thanos, a villain from the Avengers, Infinity War universe. Thanos is a powerful alien warlord who wants to acquire all 6 Infinity Stones, so that he can use them to destroy half of the universe. He's incredibly intelligent and strategic, able to outthink and outmaneuver his enemies. ENTJ. ENTJs are strategic, ambitious, and natural leaders. This is perfectly illustrated in Hela, a villain from the Thor, Ragnarok universe. The ENTJ villain is the leader in the League of Supervillains. They created the League in order to provide a network where villains can connect with other villains to pool resources and coordinate their plans more efficiently. INFJ. INFJs are insightful, compassionate, and future-thinking individuals. They have a deep understanding of people and what motivates them. The INFJ villain is someone with a strategic long-term vision and the people skills to get people aligned with them. A villain with this personality is Harley Quinn. She is extremely analytic and can shift her perspective when needed to justify practically any action she takes and the actions of others, particularly the Joker. Her drive to understand is why she often finds herself in dangerous situations for far too long, as she needs to understand what will happen and where something is going. ENTP. The ENTP villain is the Machiavellian mastermind who creates chaos and mayhem for their own amusement. They play by their own rules, and the cleverness of their schemes make it difficult for detectives and superheroes alike to capture and bring them to justice. The Joker is an ENTP villain example. He doesn't think in terms of good or bad. He's skeptical of moral absolutes, as ENTPs often are. This isn't to say that ENTPs are morally corrupt, the Joker is, of course, but ENTPs in general are just very wary of believing something to be good or bad, just because someone said so. They have to hold ideas or morals up to scrutiny and debate to see if they still hold true. INTP. The INTP villain is dangerous because of their ability to operate anonymously and strike mysteriously, leaving little, if any, trace of their presence. These logical thinkers seek to understand and solve problems without being ruled by emotion or authority, and with the intention of knowledge. Their motives are nihilistic and seemingly random, but only the most clever detectives will notice the patterns. The INTP villain enjoys toying with their pursuers and see them struggle to piece together the hidden clues they leave behind ever so thoughtfully. Isma from The Emperor's New Groove is a perfect example of an INTP villain. She's an expert in potions and alchemy, which she uses to try and take down Emperor Cusco. ENFJ. The ENFJ villain operates like a mafia godfather. Their big-picture schemes serve a higher purpose, however misguided. They surround themselves with yes men and obedient myrmidons who believe in them like a messiah. ENFJs are compassionate, charismatic, and natural leaders. They are driven to find an overarching meaning in life and a sense of deep purpose. This is perfectly illustrated in Ego the Living Planet, a villain from the Guardians of the Galaxy universe. ISTJ. The ISTJ villain is the one who owns a vast collection of historical objects and orchestrates well-thought-out heists intended to extend their collection of rare and valuable artifacts. They are interested in raiding museums and historical sites. They operate from the shadows and rely on the services of high-grade professional goons who are competent at what they do. Villain with this personality is Ars, the actual god of war. Ars has been an important foe for Wonder Woman over the years. As a god, Ars has been around for an extremely long time and holds some pretty archaic and old-school values in high regard. These traits make him an ISTJ type. ESTJ. The ESTJ villain is a strong schemer who maps out detailed and well-thought-out plans for accomplishing their ends. Whether they are staging a bank robbery or stealing a priceless painting from a museum, with heavy security, the ESTJ villain will use their knowledge of proven strategies for bypassing every obstacle they can expect, as well as a few contingent possibilities that may catch them surprise. They are able to think laterally when they need to. Captain James Hook personality type is ESTJ, which is a well-rounded and practical personality type with a warm and reliable disposition. ISTP. The ISTP villain is the evildoer who works alone and is generally motivated by money and material gain. The ISTP doesn't follow social mores, nor do they need to engage fully with others, and this can give them a distant, aloof persona to others who often don't quite know where they stand. Practical, resourceful, adaptable pragmatists. ISTPs possess an excellent capacity for understanding how anything works. Displaying logical, detached analysis, they are cold-blooded and stoic, which makes them all the more intimidating as a villain. Villain with this personality is Wolverine. Wolverine feels haunted by his lack of understanding of his own past. He cannot stop searching until he remembers what happened to him, and the reasons why. His sense of logic remains unsatisfied until he has all the answers. For such a lone wolf, Wolverine winds up taking care of a lot of people over the course of his movies. Somehow, he always falls into being helpful, protecting the kids, standing up to the bad guys, and doing so with a certain brutal flair and style. ISFP. The ISFP villain is an arrogant snob who believes their superior sense of taste entitles him to steal expensive objects because he is the only one worthy of possessing them. As a villain, the ISFP is a highbrow criminal. They are likely to be world-class art thieves and museum raiders. ISFPs are creative, gentle, and compassionate individuals. It's easy for them to put themselves in others' shoes. The kind, soft-spoken nature of the ISFP can be seen in Max Dillon, a villain from the Spider-Man universe, before he turns into Electro. ISFJ. Finding an ISFJ villain is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. The ISFJ villain is fueled by past hurt and internalized umbrage they refuse to let go of. They are tormented by the trauma that turned them into the warped and psychologically damaged person they've become. ISFJs are people who preserve traditions, create atmospheres of warmth and harmony, and attend to people's needs. Perfect example is Norman Bates from Psycho. Norman Bates at first glance comes across as gentle, unassuming and soft-spoken. He's driven to fulfill his duty as a good son and continue running Bates Motel. ESTP. ESTPs are impulsive, competitive, and thrill-seeking individuals. The ESTP villain is of the sociopathic variety of criminals who take what they want and are ruthless in the way they go about it. The ESTP villain demands complete loyalty and nothing less. This is perfectly illustrated in the Grandmaster, a villain from the Thor Ragnarok universe. He lives for thrill and fun, and enjoys watching people fight, often pitting two opponents against each other for his own amusement. ESFP. The ESFP villain is unpredictable, aggressive and temperamental. They are thrill-seeking narcissists driven by greed and lust. ESFPs are passionate, free-spirited individuals who react quickly to events happening around them. The green-eyed monster consumes them and they seek instant gratification. When they are unhappy, they become cruel and volatile toward the people around them. Their evil Phi makes them immune to other people's feelings, and their T makes them want to control and inflict pain on other people. This is perfectly illustrated in Enter Darker of Eric Killmonger, a villain from the Black Panther universe. ESFJ. The ESFJ villain has a team upon which they rely for advice and counsel. They involve their underlings in the planning process, but some of their flunkies may question and challenge their judgment and ability as leader. The ESFJ villain is someone who seems very loving and nurturing, but also can be manipulative and controlling. Mother Got Hell from Tangled is a perfect example of an ESFJ villain. She knows how to play the role of mother convincingly, appealing to Rapunzel's emotions and gaining her trust with false motherly affection. Thank you for watching. We would really appreciate if you subscribe and like this video so we can continue creating similar content.